Hello, everyone, and welcome to the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council's Go Wild auction and fundraising event. My name is Aya. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the program coordinator at the IWRC and your MC for today's event. I am so excited that people from all around the world are joining us for this event, and also coming in from the Facebook and LinkedIn platforms. But I wanted to encourage everyone on those platforms to join us here on the Trellis homepage if you want to bid and donate. We'll put the links for this page and the auction page in the chat. So I wanted to encourage everyone to please talk to us in the chat. Tell us where you're joining from. You can also email us with any questions or for assistance at online@theiwrc.org or by calling us at 866-871-1869, extension 1. Although we may have a somewhat delayed replies during certain parts of this event. So, other members of the IWRC staff and I are located in Eugene, Oregon, and I would like to begin this event by acknowledging that we are broadcasting to you from stolen land. What is now referred to as the Willamette Valley is Kalapuya Ilhi, the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people. We recognize the Silits, Grand Ronde, along with the Kalapuya communities, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. Between 1851 and 1855, the Kalapuya were forcibly moved onto reservations and dispossessed of their native lands. Although you are joining us from all over the world, many of us are similarly living in places taken away from their original inhabitants or on which terrible genocide and occupations occurred. We want to acknowledge the history that many First Peoples whose ancestral lands were stolen still live and contribute to our communities, and that there is still so much work to be done addressing pervading issues that radiate out from historical and more recent crimes. We cannot care for wildlife without caring for each other. I encourage all of you that are not First Peoples yourself and that live in areas touched by colonialism to research the original inhabitants of your area and do what you can to empower marginalized and Indigenous communities and to build bridges for the future. I also want to take a moment to thank our event sponsors, to the Wildlife Center of Virginia, Louise Schimmel, to the Wild Neighbors Database Project, Wormed, as well as to Brooke Durham. We are so grateful for your help and support. We could not have this event without you. This is our first online auction, and I have to say, myself and everyone at the IWRC have just been absolutely blown away by people's generosity, their support and participation. As you can see on our auction page, we have already surpassed our goal. While this is absolutely incredible and we are already so grateful for your generosity, I want to encourage you to keep bidding and keep donating. We are setting a stretch goal of $7,000, and I really think that we can meet that today. Every donation means the world to us and helps us focus more on our mission, delivering content, resources, and support to our amazing community of rehabbers. But some of you here may be coming to us from outside the rehab world or may be new to the IWRC. Here to tell us more about this organization is our Executive Director, Kai Williams. Kai received her bachelor's degree in anthropology and environmental studies and went on to do her graduate work in public policy and administration at Northwestern University. She has worked in nonprofits and in environmental education and has now been our dedicated and kind ED for over 10 years. Not only has Kai worked in rehab, but she also grew up at Wind River Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, reading the Journal of Wildlife Rehabilitation. So I will pass it over to you, Kai.
Thanks, Aya. Welcome to the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council's first online auction. IWRC is a 501c3 nonprofit with staff based in Eugene, Oregon, and board members around the world. We envision a world where the conservation and welfare of wild animals is well served by an effective symbiotic relationship between wildlife rehabilitators and other wildlife professionals. Every step we take is in service of this vision. We provide training and resources on wildlife rehabilitation including textbooks, engaging courses both on and offline, a peer-reviewed journal, and online resources. Our textbooks are now being used in university classrooms as well as by rehabilitators around the world. It's been fascinating to watch the field grow. Wildlife rehabilitation is a global challenge, and no one organization can do it alone. We work collaboratively, developing working relationships with organizations and individuals to further wild animal welfare and conservation. Improvement and excellence are achievable only with knowledge. IWRC is committed to providing opportunities for rehabilitators and other wildlife professionals to develop and improve what they do. Access to education is critical to the success of wildlife rehabilitation efforts around the globe. It's been a wonderful journey for me, watching IWRC change and grow, but also stay true to its core. Editorials from presidents 40 years ago still ring true, but at the same time, our field has come so far. We have come so far. My favorite moments come when I hear of the impact IWRC has had on a person's path. Please join me as we continue to build capacity to support rehabilitators, such as the many dedicated staff and volunteers at the Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association. If you haven't had a chance yet, I highly suggest checking out their page or checking out some of the National Geographic pages on Olivier. There's amazing work being done there and in so many places around the world. I'm really excited that we get to be this small part of it. And I'm so excited to have you participating today in our auction. Just by being here and perhaps sharing an aspect of our work, you're furthering our goals. Enjoy today's event. We are so happy to have you here. Back to you, Aya.
Hi, everyone. I'm just realizing that I've been muted this whole time. So there's our first technical hiccup of the auction. So let me backpedal a little bit. Thank you so much, Kai, for talking to us a little bit more about the IWRC and how it's grown over the years. It's such an amazing organization, and you have done so much with it at the helm. So, as Kai said, there are amazing ways to donate to our Rwanda course, and many of you have already purchased supplies to the Rwanda course. I think we're at 19 kits at the moment, and we're looking to hit our stretch goal to provide over 40 kits and over half of the kit supplies for our students today. So if you would like to supply kits to, or purchase a kit supply for a student in Rwanda, please go to our auction homepage. Scroll down until you see Rwanda Course 2022, which is just under the auction preview. And I also wanted to remind you that there are many different ways to donate on our auction on our homepage, and you can easily jump over to the auction by clicking the auction tab. If you have any questions, or if I forget to unmute myself again, please let us know in the chat or email us at online@theiwrc.org. All right, so I also have a message from our current board president, Adam Grogan. Adam is the head of wildlife for the Royal Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals in the United Kingdom. He advises on policy on all matters related to the welfare of wild animals, including casualty wildlife, and facilities research into methods of rehabbing wild animals and how these methods can be improved to aid in the survival of these casualties. Adam also recently authored two chapters on animal welfare, one in our co-publication with NWRA, Standards for Wildlife Rehabilitation, as well as the second edition of the IWRC's foundational textbook, Wildlife Rehabilitation, A Comprehensive Approach. So I will pass it over to Adam.
Hi, my name is Adam Grogan, and I'm the president of the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. I would like to thank all of you for participating in our auction this year. All the funds raised from our auction will go to help the IWRC continue its work, which, put simply, we help wildlife rehabilitators help wild animals. And that could be of any species in any country. The IWRC will provide training courses, books and other resources, and we also have a network of wildlife rehabilitators around the world that we can put in touch with other rehabilitators who may need help. Our hard-working team in the office are dedicated in providing an excellent service, and I have enjoyed working with the IWRC for the past 9 years as a board member, and especially in the last 3 years as president. So thank you again.
Thank you, Adam. I also wanted to take an opportunity right now to express our gratitude to Adam for his service to the IWRC. He will be stepping down both as president and as a board member this January after 9 years of service. His dedication to the IWRC and steady leadership has helped the organization immensely. We are going to have a bunch of great new board members coming on to the IWRC board soon, including our board president-elect, Suzanne Pugh, but it is a bittersweet transition. We will miss you, Adam. All right, so next I wanted to introduce you to our first musical act, the Barbaloots, also known as Shore and Cockrum. Michael Cockrum and Susan Shore are amazing musicians in their own rights. Susan's solo CD, Book of Days, was cited as one of the best folk and bluegrass albums of the year by Opinion magazine, and Michael's songs have won songwriting contests from Oregon to Arkansas. They work together. When they work together, their musicianship blends beautifully. The Barbaloots spin their whimsical tall tales that deal with complex issues with humor and make them a hit with all ages. Don't forget, you can bid on their music in the auction, or head over to their website, shoreandcockrum.com. So please help join me in welcoming them to our virtual stage.
Welcome to our home in the Arkansas Ozarks. We're Shore and Cockrum and sometimes the Barbaloots. And we're really happy to be here for this benefit for the IWRC, a great cause. And we're going to start out with a wildlife song called When Possum Came to Town. Way out in the subdivision, the houses spotless, the yards are green. People there have a special vision, tidy and clean. Lawnmowers mowed, leaf blowers blow, it was a loud, unnatural sound. When everything was polished to a shiny glow, that's when Possum came to town. So they put up a sign, we don't like your kind. You're scruffy, you're dirty, you're brown. You're way out of line, so if you don't mind, go back to your hole in the ground. Keep your pointy noses away from our roses, they said with a scowl and a frown. They chased that possum with all our noses, that possum, he's still around. There's deer in the garden, I beg your pardon, coyotes scaring the cats. Did you hear that crash right nothing's in the trash. I got an attic full of bats. Every creature in creation, staging an invasion. Squirrels stealing seed for their stash. This doesn't stop, gonna roll my top. Have to do something rash. So they built a wall. It was 8 feet tall, all the way around the town. People thought the wall was the end of it all. That's when Possum came back around. Possum smiled with a wince when he saw that fence. He said to his friends with a sigh, this uncivil defense doesn't make much sense, 'cause you know, we love to climb. Enough is enough. Do we have to get rough? Call the police, the fire chief. They caught the possum napping. When they grabbed him, Possum said, now you listen to me. To be perfectly honest, you're imposing on us. You could leave on a train or a bus. 'Cause we didn't move to this town, this town. They moved to us. We didn't move to this town, this town moved to us. All right. Well, we're really happy to do this, and we're really happy that to be on the same, to have our telephone ringing in the middle of recording this. But we're really glad to do this with Trout Fishing in America. And of course, the IWRC is near and dear to our heart.
I think that's a squirrel calling right now. Well, this is a song written by my old friend James McCandless, a brilliant Chicago singer-songwriter. This is called This Must Be Paradise. Let me get into position here. When he took his coffee break from the world, he waved his toes through the grass in the garden
Right.
Should we do fragrance?
Alrighty, that was amazing. Thank you. And yes, check out that. Oops, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way. The possum print in the online auction. It is beautiful. All right, while Michael and Susan are tuning up, I just wanted to jump in to encourage you to check out the auction. Did you know that we have Zoom calls with incredible wildlife professionals? Each one of our Wild Chat donors has such an impressive resume. We are really excited to speak with you. So we have Peter Carr, who is the co-founder and COO of the Endangered Species Protection Agency. Pete is responsible for developing and implementing investigation strategies that target the criminal groups operating within illegal wildlife trade. He is also an award-winning journalist specializing in wildlife management and has worked as an infiltration and fixer capacity for international media outlets focusing on wildlife crime. We are also so excited to have Michael Zaccardi, the director of the Oiled Wildlife Care Network, executive director of the One Health Institute, and health science clinical professor at UC Davis. Dr. Zaccardi received his DVM, MPVM, and PhD in epidemiology from UC Davis, emphasizing free-range wildlife health and the effects of petroleum exposure in wildlife. He has been an oil spill response veteran and veterinarian and coordinator since 1996, responding to more than 75 spills in the US and abroad, including in Spain, New Zealand, Bangladesh, and has acted as the marine mammal and sea turtle group leader for the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. Amazing. And finally, we have Ron McGill, who is the host of HITN's National Wildlife documentary program, Mundo Salvaje con Ron McGill. As Zoo Miami's Goodwill Ambassador, he has traveled extensively and made frequent appearances on many programs while producing award-winning photographs and working on television programs around the world. So these are all such amazing wildlife professionals who have in such different ways helped wildlife immensely. So please check out those Wild Chats, bid to have conversations with one of these three if you're interested. And now that I have taken up much longer than tuning time, I'm going to turn it back over to the Barbaloots. Take it away.
Another Jim McCandless song.
This is one of the most beautiful songs I think I personally have ever heard. And it's from one of his last albums that he made, I don't know how many years ago this was now, but this is called The Fragrance of Cold Water. Let me just see if we're in tune.
I'm going to play the octave mandolin on this one.
Yes, a good one. A Baird Blaine octave mandolin. On the south side of the river, where the water meets the bank, there's a path between the bushes every autumn. And if you go there in the morning, when everything is damp, the air carries the fragrance of cold water. There are sapphires floating by, little bits of gold. You roll your sleeve, reach in and try to stop them. But again, as in each day, the water's way too cold. Your hands are froze before they hit the bottom. Something tells you not to take those gems away. You don't need them anyhow, it doesn't matter. And you wouldn't want to tamper with perfection anyway. The beautiful river of cold water. Now the fish are indifferent to the value of the stone. They wouldn't own a gem even if they could. For why does a precious stone to a fish without a home, on a journey down the river to the woods. Grandpa and I sailed on a wooden boat and let the stream determine where we landed. We found a secret valley with flowers overgrown, ponds and waterfalls of crystal candy. This must be where the river makes its summer home and rests before it tends to other matters. And in the grandeur of the moment, we docked our wooden boat and savored the fragrance of cold water. On the south side of the river, where the water meets the bank, there's a path between the bushes every autumn. And if you go there in the morning when everything's damp, the air carries the fragrance of cold water. And if you go there in the morning when everything is damp, the air carries the fragrance of cold water.
All right. Okay, we're gonna finish off with a song. It doesn't have any wildlife in it, but it does have farm animals in it, so.
Well, they're almost gone. They would run away if they could.
Called Witch Hazel. And I need a cape over this one. So you can find us at shoreincockram.com. And of course, we encourage you to give generously to the IWRC. We do a lot to impose on the natural world, and it's good to give back. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Two women lived on Tinker's Hill, both of them named Hazel. thank you, said the Hazel Clove. We like our own company. Look the kind that sleeps off the done-up farmers, so it seems. Our hounds, they like to lie around. Our pigs are fat and lazy. You know it's true, be waiting on you. We're poor, but we're not crazy. Which Hazel do you think is best? Which Hazel would you marry? Which Hazel would do work for you? There's nothing she can't carry. Do you think they are the marrying kind? Do you think they might be witches? Little Hazel sews the finest clothes. She'll keep you in stitches. Little Hazel plays a pretty banjo. Big Hazel plays a song. Ever after you can hear their laughter in the hills of Arkansas. Which Hazel do you think is best? Which Hazel would you marry? Which Hazel would do work for you? There's nothing she can't carry. Do you think they are the marrying kind? Do you think they might be witches? Little Hazel sews the finest clothes. She'll keep you in stitches. Little Hazel sews the finest clothes. Big Hazel wears the breeches. All right, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Wow, that was awesome. Thank you so much to the Barbaloots. So that was an amazing performance. I think it was just such a lovely mix of witty fun and beautiful music. And the wildlife theme is so perfect for our audience. So thank you to the Barbaloots. Remember to check out their music at shoreandcockram.com, and we will put that link in the chat. There's also the Auction Music Bundle, where we've bundled their debut CD with a CD from the next band coming up, Trout Fishing in America. So check that out. I also wanted to remind you to head over to the auction and get your bids in. The auction is full of amazing handmade items like the feathered wing shawls made by the IWRC's board member, Brooke Durham. They're absolutely gorgeous, handmade, and going for way too cheap. So get in there and check those out. We've also got some woodcraft items made by longtime IWRC supporter Rondi Large. And we also have some incredible and never before sold photographs by Michael Lowry. So those photographs can actually be printed to whatever size you want, and then we will send them to you. So check that out, all amazing auctions and items, and there's also so much more in there. So take a look. All right, so we've been talking about this Rwanda course quite a bit. And I wanted to remind you all that you can give lab supplies to a student for that course. Giving supplies will do so much more than just allow them to take the class. It will also allow them to continue practicing and improving, and just means so much. This course, we're offering to the students this class free or very, very reduced charge. So a lot of the proceeds from this auction will go towards supporting the course and those kits. So this project, the Rwanda class, is the result of a collaboration with Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association. We are really excited about it. Here to tell you a little bit more about the project is the RWCA's founder and amazing conservationist and veterinarian, Olivier Insigmana. So I will turn it over to you, Olivier.
Is from Rwanda. I am also the founder and executive director of an organization called Rwanda Wildlife Conservation Association. And this is an organization that has been working over the last 6 years to really make a difference for species that are threatened. Over the last 6 years, we've been working to really reverse the decline of great crown cranes, and we've been working to save other species such as bats, shoebill, African grey parrots. One of the key or the heart of our activity or the heart of our effort is bringing communities on board. We work hard to really train communities and really give them the ownership so that they can be the center of action, the center of our activity. So this year, we are really happy to announce that we have formed a partnership with the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. And this partnership is going to help us to train more members of the communities, to give them the basic knowledge in rescuing and helping animals. We would really greatly appreciate any donation, or if you could help us purchase some students' supplies on our auction website. And these supplies, they will help us during the training that we are planning to run in February 2022. Thank you so much for your help.
Hi, Al, I did it again. I'm sorry. Okay. So I wanted to say thank you to Olivier for telling us a little bit more about the Rwanda class. Please don't forget to give to the auction. A lot of our proceeds will go towards the Rwanda course, and of course, buying supplies for a student makes a huge difference in our ability to put this course forward. Courses like the Rwanda course really get at the heart of what the IWRC does with expanding wildlife rehabilitation education internationally and creating international networks of folks who care for animals, wild animals. So thank you so much, Olivier. While we are talking about online classes, I wanted to tell you a little bit more about some of the other things we're working on at the IWRC. So like so many organizations, when the pandemic hit, we had to pivot fast because we had primarily in-person classes and then very simple online classes and online learning materials. So we had to coordinate those classes and take them so that they could be taken remotely. Our basic course was probably the biggest endeavor. We created a hybrid live online lecture component to the class and a completely virtual lab. So we've also created more complex online courses with activities and resources to supplement video lectures. And like our pilot course that we did this way, the wound course, we have asynchronous labs with corresponding lab kits that can be sent to your home. So this is really exciting and cool and allows a lot more complex topics and procedures to be taught asynchronously or over the internet. So we are really excited to be launching our new parasitology course very soon. So I have a little video here where Kai is going to show you something from the parasitology kits that we are very excited about.
I'm so excited to show you one of our new tools. Our volunteer, Max Rinaldi, who has a 3D printer, offered to test out some 3D printing of microscopes. So this little creature here is actually a microscope that can go in your cell phone. It has a clip to just attach to your cell phone, a little clip for the slide to go in, and in between the two, there is a microscope lens. So you attach it to your phone, making sure that the lens roughly meets where your camera lens is. You'll know it's there because you'll get kind of that blurry white screen like you see from an empty microscope. Very helpful to have a backlight. In this case, I'm using my computer. You can use a cell phone, flashlight, all sorts of things. And you just slide your scope slide in and move it around in the pattern that you usually do while you're looking to find something. Probably not the broken glass because this is an old slide. And as you go, you find perhaps your parasite. To focus, it's a little tricky. It's taken me a couple of tries to figure it out, but it kind of becomes natural pretty quickly. The focus is actually by just gently flexing the slide away or toward the lens. And obviously this is quite a big specimen, so depending on how I flex it, I'm seeing different parts of the exoskeleton here. But it's a pretty nifty little tool. Just amazing for something that can fit in your pocket, and all you need is a light, a cell phone, and of course, some slides. We're working on instructions. We're also just testing this out further, and we'll have detailed instructions, but this is something we're planning on having in the parasitology lab kit. So thanks for watching.
Alrighty, that's awesome. So we're really, really excited about this new course. Our international program supervisor, Katie McInnes, it's really her baby. She's been working so hard, but we've also been collaborating with a lot of our instructors and other professionals to really bring high quality videos and case studies and all sorts of really interesting elements to that course. So if you're a rehabber and interested in parasitology, keep an eye out on our social media and on our website. We'll be launching that very soon. All right, and if you want to find out more about any of our classes, you can find an IWRC page linked on our Trellis event homepage. And of course, again, you can visit our website and social media pages, and feel free to email me. I'm the North American class coordinator and happy to tell you more about any of the cool classes and educational resources that we're working on. So up next, I am extremely excited to introduce to you Trout Fishing in America. This eclectic duo has been playing music together for over 4 decades. When we got the chance to book Trout for our auction, it was particularly exciting for me because they were my absolute favorite band when I was a little kid, and I still love their music. Keith and Ezra's music has been nominated for 4 Grammys. Their folky, rocky sound is hard to nail down to one simple genre. It spans musical styles, ages, and is just fun. So I hope you will join me in welcoming Trout Fishing in America.
If I see a full moon rising, or watch a half moon set, or reach into my pocket to get what I can't get, if it all stops making sense, I know I'll be just fine. Honey, you'd show up, you'd show up, you'd show up at the strangest times. When everything goes never green, fences fall apart. Getting better makes it worse when I cannot start. When the coyotes howl and the wind stops on a dime. Honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times. When the choirs fall silent and the bells won't ring, when all my days get lost and I can't find anything, it was raining in the morning, snowing hard by noon. At 5 o'clock, the world was closed and it won't reopen soon. I was wishing I weren't lonely, feeling low and left behind. Honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest times. When the choirs fall silent and the bells won't ring, when all my days get lost and I can't find anything, that day I wrecked my car, that day I lost my job, that time I wasn't looking, that night when I got robbed. When it all starts to unravel and the clock starts to unwind, behind. Honey, you show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest time. You show up, you show up, you show up at the strangest time.
Well, hello and a great big howdy from Trout Fishing in America. That's who we are. And we are in West Fork, Arkansas in the Ozark Mountains right now coming to you. You IWRC people, International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. That's a mouthful. We think perhaps, we were cogitating on it this morning, we think perhaps GARD, GARD, might be a good acronym for you guys. Global Animal Rehabilitation Division. I don't know what you think.
They probably got some, momentum going with the other, Anyway, I like it. It's a pleasure to be here playing some music for you. It's a pleasure to play for anybody these days. Our tour got stopped last year. 2020, our tour ended about March. And we had some time off. We have never had time off like this. Anyway, we decided to spend our time off writing songs, and we're going to play some of them for you right now. First one is the first song we wrote after the lockdown. It was about getting back at it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Let it rain and let it pour. Let the river rise right up to my door. Knock me down,
I'll be back again.
ride the cradle and rock the boat. If I can't swim, baby, I can float.
Knock me down, I'll be back again. Always trouble to be found, baby, believe it. Nothing's gonna keep us down, baby, believe it. Well, the world changed once and the world changed twice. Nobody listened to my advice. Knock me down, and I'll be back again.
You can holler and you can shout. Take my job and shut my mouth.
Knock me down, and I'll be back again.
Take a card.
To make it easy, they made it hard. Knock me down, and I'll be back again. Always trouble to be found, baby, believe it. Nothing's gonna keep us down, baby, believe it. Well, the world changed once and the world changed twice. Nobody listened to my advice. Knock me down, and I'll be back again. Take it away. Oh, yeah. Well, the world changed once and the world changed twice. Nobody listened to my advice. Knock me down, and I'll be back. Knock me down, I'll be back. Knock me down, and I'll be back again.
Thank you. I can just tell you're out there cheering and really happy. I want to tell you, Ezra told you, we live in the Ozark Mountains in Arkansas, and there is a lot of wildlife around here. A lot of wildlife, and I want to tell you some stories about the wildlife in our region. For example, last night I was out feeding my 11 cats. Yes, I do have a lot of kitties. There's a little X on my door that says, hey, check this guy out. And so they come in and we take them, get them fixed, and then they can live there. It's kind of nice. They were sharing their dinner last night with a possum and 2 raccoons. It was kind of interesting to watch them all out there together. I've come home, and my wife is a great animal lover. I have found pigs in my living room. I have found hawks, damaged hawks, actually in my 3rd bedroom. Yeah, and we got hold of the wildlife rehabilitation in our area, and we took that hawk there, and that hawk did real good. That was kind of cool. Beth also rescued a snake in the driveway one time. The snake bit her twice. It was a timber rattler. We don't recommend this, but I took her to the hospital to get this timber rattler bite tended to. She was swallowed up pretty good. But when she got there, she brought the snake with her, and she demanded that the snake be set free, even as she's that kind of person.
The still living snake that was gently placed in a bucket with a towel over top of it. And see, if I'd been bitten by a snake, that snake would have been in the next county. I wouldn't have known what the heck kind of snake it was. But Beth is just not that kind of woman.
But where we live is actually a very safe house. And that leads so smoothly into this next song, which is a song we wrote called Safe House.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This is a safe house if the walls don't fall, the roof won't leak, 'cause it never rains at all. The ceiling's high, but the rooms are small. It'll be alright when it stops hurting. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. Yeah, the ceiling's high, but the rooms are small. And this is a safe house if the walls don't fall. But I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. You make the rules, you take the prize. It's just so hard to keep it all inside. It'll be alright when it stops hurting. It'll be alright. It'll be alright when it stops hurting. It'll be alright. Yeah, the ceiling's high, but the rooms are small. And this is a safe house if the walls don't fall.
Really cheering now, I can tell. Well, folks, once again, you are listening to the music of Trout Fishing in America. My name is Keith. His name is Ezra. We live in Arkansas. We've been playing music together now for 45 years. That's a long time to be doing anything with anyone. But we're still traveling and still playing music. We're not traveling as much right now, of course. But if you want to find out more about us, we have a website, troutmusic.com. We got music for just about everybody, so check it out.
This wouldn't be Ozark music without a banjo, and it is now time for the banjo.
Now, what a banjo it is. I want you to have a look at that. That banjo is an electric banjo, and there's some beautiful artwork that's done there. His daughter, Dana Louise, drew that freehand with a felt tip pen, and she did that because before she did that, this looked not like an electric banjo, but more like an electric toilet seat. So, but it sounded better. Anyway, here we go.
1, 2, 3.
Where's that dog gone now? Where's that dog gone now? He was out there in the yard, now he's off somewhere playing cards. Where's that dog gone now? Where's that dog gone now? Where's that dog gone now? Looks like he chewed right through the leash, he's running wild in the streets. Where's that dog gone now? He's gonna bite through the tires in the junkyard, rip the rubber meat right off the bones, empty all the garbage all across the town, helping every muddy puddle on his way back home. Where's that dog gone now? Where's that dog gone now? Well, he was scratching at the door, but he's not begging anymore. Where's that dog gone now? Gonna bite through the tires in the junkyard, rip the rubber meat right off the bones, empty all the garbage all across the town, hopping every muddy puddle on his way back home. Where's that dog gone now? Where's that dog gone now? Well, he was out there in the yard, now he's off somewhere playing cards. Where's that dog gone now? Well, he was out there in the yard, now he's off smoking big cigars. Where's that dog gone now?
Thank you and goodbye from Trout Fishing in America. We have really enjoyed it. You're doing great work. Keep it up.
Wow, thank you so much, Trout Fishing in America. We were all enjoying that, dancing and clapping, all in our respective places, I'm sure. What a wonderful set. And from everyone here at work, thank you for your music. And thank you to Beth for looking after the wildlife of the Ozarks. Kirk, we recommend trying to build a catio, perhaps, to keep the raccoons and possums out of the cat food. However, for 11 cats, it might have to be a very big catio. So good luck with that. Alrighty, so don't forget that you can get Trout's music bundled with the Barbaloots in the auction. I saw that we had at least one bid on it since we started the auction, so let's start a bidding war. And please, of course, check out some of the other great items that we have in there. Also, if you liked what you heard, you can check out Trout Fishing in America at troutmusic.com. And And of course, we will have this recorded if you want to listen to the set again. So I also wanted to encourage you again to check out the auction. We have a lot of really great items. I know we have some really cool trips available to bid on, including a fishing package. Maybe you could do some trout fishing, wink. And we also have that fishing trip is in the Grand Tetons, and we also have a stay at an amazing golf course in Southern California on the Alcatraz hole. And I know that there's some really incredible birding in the area, and even you are even able to see some big horned sheep. So that's pretty cool. All righty. So now it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce you all to our keynote speaker for this event, Dr. Lynn Miller. Dr. Miller earned her PhD in environmental biology with qualifications in science and toxicology. She has experience as an avian research biologist for Environment Canada and as a biologist and educator, environmental toxicologist for a number of wildlife organizations in Canada as well. Dr. Miller is a past IWRC board president and instructor, and we hope she will be teaching for us again soon. She was the director of wildlife rehabilitation at Cape Wildlife Center, wildlife education director at the South Florida Wildlife Center, and is currently the general manager at New Zealand Bird Rescue. Lynn is such an influential and inspirational member of the global wildlife rehabilitation community. The creator of the Miller Wing Sling, she is always innovating and encouraging others. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and during your baby season in the Southern Hemisphere to be with us. So over to you, Lynn.
Thank you, Aya. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to be glancing across here because everybody knows that I go off on tangents. So I've got some notes to try and keep me on track. Most of all, I want to say kia ora. My name is Lynn Miller. I'm now living in Auckland, New Zealand, and I was actually charged with building a professional wildlife hospital here. So I came back just over 2.5 years ago to start that process, and I'm very proud of where we've come so far. So we actually admitted 6,170 birds last year, and this year it looks as though we're going to top that by about 5%. It's actually quite frightening, isn't it? And as you probably recognize, we're heading into the southern summer. So that means the babies are coming in, and our team is busy doing the afternoon admissions and triaging at the moment. So it's all go here. So what's happened since I've been here? Well, we now have a clinic for actually triaging some of these awesome birds. So as you know, New Zealand has not exactly been great at ensuring that birds don't go extinct. So we are the second capital of the world, I believe, in terms of extinctions. So always a bit of a concern there. And of course, I always lose my part in notes, don't you? So we also have a seabird unit because, as you can imagine, we are a series of islands stuck out in the Pacific, and we have the highest number or species numbers of seabirds crossing over literally our heads. And so it's quite exciting because you never know what you're going to get in through the door. So we have a a unit just for seabirds coming along. That unit is going to be able to house things like shorebirds, because most of them are migrating over the ocean. I mean, we still consider them waterbirds or seabirds. And they don't really like people a whole lot around them. So they have their own area that's going to be safe and isolated from everything else. We have an area for penguins going through molt. Sadly, they haul up on beaches where there's going to be people walking dogs, and they get into a lot of strife, sadly, at the hands of humans. So we can at least offer them a safe haven while they go through their molt, recondition themselves, and get ready to go on. We also have the ability to care for the hundreds and hundreds of botulism cases we get in every year. I'm very proud of our team and the clinical care we're able to offer those cases, and actually are releasing something like 96% after 24 hours, of course, of those birds coming in. We also have hundreds of mallards coming in. Gosh, they're ubiquitous, aren't they? We also get albatrosses, gannets, mollymawks, petrels, and every other sort of bird that just needs water, quiet, and support. Often birds have fallen out from the skies, literally coming into the lights of the city. So this past year, we took in 148 Cook's petrels over a 3-week period. Awesome little birds, but what a mess. We also now have an ICU, which means that we can manage our critical patients with oxygen concentrators, IV infusion pumps, all sorts of really great things that make their lives hopefully a little bit better, and they can be turned around, because whatever's brought them here, you can bet your bottom dollar we're at the base of it. We have a main hospital ward where we can put those birds that are much more comfortable around people, like with kereroo or our wood pigeon. They are the largest of the tree-dwelling pigeons in the world. Gorgeous birds. They're also the bravest. They will actually try and hurt you with their little wings and bite you. And you know pigeons. They really aren't up to speed when it comes to trying to hurt things. But boy, they try. They're awesome. We have ruru, our little wee native owls, kingfishers, and of course all of the garden birds that our English ancestors thought fit to bring with them. But they live here, cheek by jowl with everything that's going on. So absolutely critical that they are a part of the care that we give as well. We have 2 nurseries, one for our native species and one for non-natives. And that's really critical because the diseases that they may share don't necessarily need to be transferred, do they, between groups. So it's really exciting to have these facilities that we can give very specialized care. We also now have a lab that can handle most routine tests. So that means from fecals to PCVs, even to lead tests. We can do most of those things in-house now. So I'm really excited about these sort of things, and I'm so delighted to work with such an awesome team here. I think we have done so much in so short, but we all know there are clouds out there on the horizon, don't we? So if we think about it, we really are living in truly crazy times. And one that we've all known is going to happen, haven't we? We are in the field. We know more than any other professional group what a pandemic can do. Our community first saw West Nile virus, and we saw it in action, didn't we? And we still see it in action. We know what novel disease changes can bring, and it's usually pretty bad news. So there we have it. The biggest thing we are is bringing a professional care to support these animals that come from all over. And I think the word professional is the one we need to think about. We are professionals. We are people doing an extraordinary job, often under the most difficult of circumstances. And if we have a few minutes, I'm going to share with you something that I've been noodling over, something that we may be thinking about where we belong in the bigger picture. But first, we need to think about that path forward for us as wildlife rehabilitators, and it is linked to education and professional recognition. So rehabilitators cannot wait for agencies, whether they're governmental or other professional agencies, such as veterinary agencies, a veterinary community, or public health communities, to actually define our role. We need to define our role ourselves, because we know so much more about what's going on out there. We know everything is interconnected. And that's where the role of One Health, the understanding that everything is interconnected, is not new to us, is it? We've been living this for decades. So we are, in fact, the very center of that One Health paradigm. Think about it. We deal with wildlife patients, and they could be carrying rabies. So we also care for the human connections there. So how about oil spills? That brings humans, wildlife, the environment all together. And who's at the very center of it? It's us. wildlife rehabbers caring for so many of those things that are going on. Yet when you look at our roles and that fact that we are central to so much, yet in the latest WHO report on the One Health situation globally, wildlife rehabilitation isn't even mentioned. We're being missed out in such huge, important documents, and recognition at a global level of their role and the importance that we bring to that the interface between us and the wildlife and the environment that we all share. So we know, if we think about this on a global level, our wildlife doesn't know those boundaries except for the ones first imposed by the world they inhabit, and then the ones that we are now imposing on them because of living in their world. So if we think about that global situation, last week, for instance, the Godwits arrived back here in New Zealand after that epic flight from the far reaches of the Northern Hemisphere. They take off, leaving from New Zealand after the summer here, and head towards China and North Korea. That's their first rest stop. And then they take off and head up to Alaska. And they breed there over the summer and then do an epic flight, 8 days or so, back here to New Zealand direct. Isn't that wow? I mean, you just cannot get your head around these little birds hauling their butts from the Northern Hemisphere down to islands in down the bottom of the world. It is just truly awesome to think about it. And of course, they have to deal with things like weather. And sometimes that means they're going to not make it to New Zealand. They may have to stop over in Fiji or go off to Australia or maybe New Caledonia. And so all of a sudden, when you start to think about this little bird has connected so many countries in its life cycle in 1 year. And we as rehabbers are part of that cycle as well. We know there are people caring for these birds in many other places as well as here. So we need to recognize and celebrate these events, especially in so much as they really do demonstrate that ours is a global profession and one that shares the passion and the compassion for all species, no matter where they are. So even those grey squirrel pups that you care for in your home rehab centre have connections that touch your county or your state or province, the country that they're in, and even the world, just simply because everything is interconnected. So let's add climatic shift to that mix. When I first started rehabbing in Quebec some too many years ago to remember, 40 odd years, we all knew, 15th of May, we would get our first mallard ducklings in. But, it was standard. You just didn't have to think about it. You got your caging ready for the 15th of May. Now, baby robins, they would roll in that first week of June. Now we look forward to now. What's happening now? Those mallard ducklings are arriving the first week of April, and those robins are arriving by the end of April. We are having huge shifts, and we are the ones seeing this firsthand every day. Ocean currents are changing fish ranges, driving fish deeper or to cooler waters, or actually preventing them breeding even. And so we're seeing en masse starvation of these precious seabirds. So it's not an uncommon occurrence anymore, is it? It's just pretty devastating when it happens, and we're the ones who often see part of that devastation. So I don't know, I don't want to dwell on it too much, because I find it just really tough to handle the enormity of what we face. So that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just the enormity. And now, if nothing else, along comes COVID. If nothing else has shown us graphically what can happen when all these boundaries are breached, it's COVID, isn't it? We know that the diseases that live happily on one species and have no issues can make our lives terribly miserable when they move outside of that species boundary. And guess what? We're seeing it graphically every day. We're having to change shifts to make sure our bubbles stay the same. If one shift who does 3 days a week, one group of people doing 3 days a week, one of them gets sick and that group is grounded, the other group can take over. We're having to make such adjustments in our life. But that's what our nature the nature of rehab is all about. We're very flexible in so many ways. We just get damn tired at the end of the season though. So what we have to think about though is what's next. And the pathway forward really has been recognized by decades by our heroes in this profession. It's all about education, isn't it? And the IWRC is one part of that picture that brings together the passion for our patients and the professional responses we need to have in caring for them. The CWR is also a part of this. And I'm bringing that up because I'm awfully proud of being able to write CWR along with my PhD. So education, a recognition of professionalism with things like the CWR, really important. And we must move forward together, educating ourselves to meet these challenges that just the world is keeping throwing at us, isn't it? And we are not only a part of this problem, but we're also the healers. We're able to heal so much and at least relieve suffering through euthanasia if we have to. It's not what we got into this business for, is it? But we must have a seat at the table, every table, where our patients' needs are under discussion, bringing our strengths of compassion, knowledge, and realistic expectation to that very discussion. We have so much to give for the individual animals that come through our doors as we, more than any others, know their reality, recognize their challenges, and that we care. That care must also be based on solid, scientific, well-grounded in biology knowledge, and so an all-rounded education for us as rehabbers. And the place to find this, of course, is the IWRC, International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. I'm proud to be a past president and board member, as well as somebody who not only has been privileged to help develop some of these courses, but also take them. So it's one of these things that is just so critical for us all. And I am just so proud to be able to support this organization and give, which has given me so much, but also helps me give voice to my patients. So please show your support, donate whatever you can. And this is not only for you too, it's for our global community working in the profession of wildlife rehabilitation. And I know there is opportunities to help out our colleagues in Rwanda, so you can make purchases of supplies to support the course that's coming up there. How exciting. I was so privileged back in 2005 to go to South Africa. And I took a whole bag of vet wrap because it was just about impossible for people to get it there. I think they had enough vet wrap to last for years. But anyway, it was really something that I could do at that stage and gave me a lot of pleasure in doing so. So I am going to pop along myself and donate money because obviously I'd love to bid on some of the things there are awesome. Just beautiful. I'd love to get them, but shipping to here would be cost prohibitive. So I'd rather give something that I can do, which is money, and help out our team. Now, talking about money, this is, I have a few minutes I can tell you about this. I have been thinking about this for quite some time. We are professionals, and because of that, we keep records, don't we? We use wormed here, fantastic. Great. You have wild one, Raptomet, all of these things give you so much back and help you organize all of the data that we collect from our patients. So we have all this knowledge. We look at that, and if you look at it in data mine, you're going to find somewhere between 90 and 98% of all your patients have come in because of a mess they've got into because of our fellow human beings. We've created it. Their injuries, the issues they're facing are anthropogenic in origin, whether it's cat bites, fishing tackle, lead toxicosis. Botulism here is a is created from artificial ponds and very poorly maintained waterways in some areas, car impact injuries, window strikes, pesticides. I mean, you can't stop but name things that we have created and have caused incredible harm to our non-human companions. So we get these animals in, we clean up, we're part of the clean team, aren't we? We're cleaning up the mess that our fellow citizens are making. And to top it off, we have the privilege of paying for it. What's wrong with this picture? I mean, have you ever thought about it like this before? We are paying to clean up everybody else's mess. And in doing so, it often impoverishes us financially, spiritually, physically, emotionally. You just name it, it can be very devastating at times. And most of us start up at each season buoyed with hope that things are going to be okay and end each season frazzled. I've seen the cartoons, you know, where you just see the transition from the start of the season to the end. Every one of those baby birds came in pretty much because of something we've done. Even those storms that are coming through are so much more severe, often slower moving, creating far more damage than would have happened historically. Trees that would have been part of a forest system are now standing in small isolated units and being hit by wind far harder. So again, these things have happened because of us, and we're paying for the privilege of cleaning up that job. So let's think about that. I say we should, as professionals, be treated as professionals and paid as professionals, which means the agency, the people, the whatever that causes the problem should be a part of that solution. So how about we become a budget line on every council's spreadsheet? Just imagine just even $1 on property taxes, on your annual property taxes to support wildlife rehabilitation. Wouldn't that just make life so much easier? It would help us to pay ourselves a living salary and employ help and ensure the diets and the management, the housing that we offer our patients is as good as we can possibly provide. And hopefully that will help reduce the attrition rate of rehabilitators in our business. We know that many rehabbers have a life expectancy in the business of maybe 3 to 5 years. And it's such a loss when they have to move on, either through just having taken too much on and been overwhelmed, financially just impoverished, whatever it takes. We need to think about how that can stop. So I say $1 on people's tax bills that is then made available to us is a really good way to start. What do you say? I think we need to have a global movement to get this going. And it's all because we are the ones with the professionalism, the knowledge. We're the ones who should be there, right at that coalface, being the ones that take care of the animals that really need us as much as anything. But the most important part of this then, if we are going to be accepting funding from those sort of pools and the confidence of society around us, is that we continue educating ourselves, that we become the very best possible ourselves as rehabbers. So I hope to see you all in courses that I may be either taking or actually giving. Maybe you need to think about a trip down here to decompress once travel's back on the to-do list, because at the moment it's the not to-do list. But once we can start traveling, hopefully I can come up and visit you there. But if you come down here, do plan a visit. Come and visit us here at Birdcare Aotearoa. We'll sit down and have a cuppa, and I will share with you, and my team will share with you our joy in some of the things that we're able to do here. And hopefully find more funding. to do all these things. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Aya, in a second or two here. But for now, I'm so excited. I want to see how that auction's going, don't you? So hopefully we can get an update. But I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Just tuning in, checking in, maybe bidding, donating, thinking about the bigger pictures and how also IWRC can help enrich your professionalism and bring things to you. Make suggestions too. Don't hesitate to let IWRC know what you are needing, what resources you are needing as well. And then when you have people that you can reach out to help, please do. Just a quick story before I go. I had the absolute joy of meeting online a lovely young veterinarian. Her name is Hind, and she is in Khartoum. She has nothing, but she cares so passionately about the wildlife around her. So I am giving her, one of the things I can give her is a membership of IWRC and access to some of the courses. Now, as a veterinarian, yes, she knows about veterinary medicine, but that's not what wildlife rehab is all about, is it? Wildlife rehab is such a big field, and it's encompassing so many disciplines. You just think about all the things you know because you're a rehabber. You know about diets, you know about natural history of the species that you care for. You're compassionate, cheesed off with people at times. Yes, I get that. But also I am in absolute awe of what we as a species can do. Look at the vaccines that have rolled out because of COVID, and hopefully in shorter and shorter time, we will be able to get together again. But in the meantime, think about how through IWRC, we can help our colleagues all over the world who maybe don't have quite the privilege that we have. And let's see if we can't make this so much better. Sorry, Aya, I know you're waiting for me to sign off. I'm just so excited to be here, and I want to thank everyone at IWRC for making this possible. But most of all, I want to thank you. Thank you, my friends, my colleagues, people I haven't got to meet yet. You are my world. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Lynn. On behalf of myself and everyone at the IWRC, and I'm sure everyone that's watching from home, I want to say thank you for that amazing speech, for all you do for the birds of New Zealand, for all you do for wildlife worldwide, and how much you've taught and influenced the field. So we really, really appreciate you coming and speaking with us here today and helping us look at the wider picture, helping connect some of those dots, and showing what wildlife rehabilitators' impacts are and their importance, because it is such an undervalued field and such an undervalued profession, but such an important one. So we really appreciate hearing from you. I also sincerely hope that I can visit you in New Zealand. And of course, you know that there's a whole herd of us here in Eugene that would be so happy to host you if you were to visit. All right. Well, as Lynn said, please, we encourage you to donate and check out the stuff in the auction. We're pretty much at the end of our program here, and so now is the time. We want to hit that stretch goal. We were shooting for 7,000. We can shoot for 6,500. That would be amazing. That would get us to half of our kits for the Rwanda course and a lot of funds for other projects that the IWRC works on. We do a lot to try and support wildlife rehabilitators and make sure that the best possible education is out there so that wildlife gets the care that it deserves. So please donate what you can. Check out what's in the auction. There are an amazing pair of skis in there that are going for way under their value, and they need bids. There is incredible artwork in there. So many things. Please check it out. Bid if you can, and if you can't bid, maybe you could share the auction with someone you know. It's open until midnight, and if you know somebody who might be interested in something in there, share it with them. We would really, really appreciate it. So Yes, one more time. The auction closes at midnight, but I do want to remind you all that that is Pacific time. So it will be different for everyone depending on where you are. I just also wanted to let you know that you can set up an auto bidder so that you don't have to keep checking back in, and you can set it to your maximum price so that you won't pay more than you want to. It looks like we are just under $6,000 right now, but I see some donations coming in and bids coming in. So thank you so much to everyone that donated. Thank you so much to everybody that bid on items. I see today that Hannah Breland, Deborah Teachout donated. Let's see, Elizabeth Hartman, Michael Cochran just donated, one of our musicians. So thank you, and please give what you can, share this event as you can, and if nothing else, please check out our website, learn more about wildlife rehabilitation. If you're a rehabilitator, thank you so much for what you do. We want to send all of our gratitude to our amazing sponsors, the Wildlife Center of Virginia, Louise Schimmel, and to the Wild Neighbors Database Project, Wormed, and of course to our wonderful board member, Brooke Durham. So we want to express our deepest gratitude to everyone that has attended today and everyone that has participated in our auction. Your gifts during the auction and this event make such a difference in our work and help us to support and educate wildlife rehabilitators. Again, so that they can just give the best care possible to their wildlife patients, and so that we can work to remedy a little bit of the wrongs that we do on our wild neighbors. So to all of our rehabilitators out there, thank you for your amazing work, for each individual you save, but also for the conservation work that you do and the contributions you make to human and ecological health in general. I hope you had a wild time, and we hope to see you all again. Thank you so much. Have a great day.